Hello and welcome to the BFF Real podcast, where we pick a film and rant about it, always keeping it 100% real. We're your host, Edgar.
And I'm Jayla, and today we want to invite you into our discussion about the movie we recently saw. It's one of the American cult classics called Fight Club. A little synopsis about the film if you
Mm.
haven't heard before, spoilers going forward. The synopsis reads: a depressed man, Edward Norton, suffering from insomnia, meets a strange soap salesman named Tyler Durden, who is played by Brad Pitt. And he soon finds himself living in a squalid house after his perfect apartment is destroyed. The two bored men form an underground club with strict rules and fight each other, or and other men, who are fed up with their mundane lives. Their perfect partnership frays when Marla, Helena Bonham Carter, a fellow support group crasher, attracts Tyler's attention. Now, this was
Mm.
our first time watching the film, so
Mhm.
we didn't do any research. This is raw. We're raw dogging it right
Mhm.
now. Straight up opinions.
You know how good I like a raw dog, Jayla.
Oh,
Mm.
don't I? So yeah, this is straight up
No.
opinions right off of it. And let me know, how did you feel, Edgar? Just feelings, raw feelings.
Listen. Um, First of all, the synopsis or whatever it's called, it does not does it justice. And I think for like a lot of films, it does not does it justice. This movie was freaking insane. It was flopping here and there. It was swinging all over the place. It reminded me of a hung guy on Twitter. Jayla, this film was bonkers.
Bonkers is a word. Flopping on Twitter is a image. Thank
It's
you
an
for that.
action. And we saw the
You
image.
saw the image? Yo,
Mhm. We
this
saw the
film.
image.
It
Literally.
What year did it come out? Do you remember?
It was 1999, J-Lo. We weren't even thought of back then.
Not even a
Our parents were
concept.
barely legal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yo,
This movie's for the ancestors.
it's
But
what do you mean by that? Whose ancestors?
I don't know your mama, but
No, no, there's
listen.
no way. This film,
Okay. What? Okay, wait. I think the people need to know that we have both previously watched the film Bottoms, which is, I think, based on somehow in this movie.
I mean,
So I think like it's important because like throughout me time watching it, I was comparing stuff to Bottoms because
mm,
like a lot of people compared it when it comes out, me not knowing anything about Fight Club, and that is some weird comparison. Like I see it, but also is like not the same.
clearly,
Listen, we're
right.
Gen Z. We're bottom generation. That's our classic Fight Club. You know, this is someone else.
So
Mm.
I think the biggest difference we're getting between the two is the fact that, yes, the year, it was obviously 1999 versus today's 2023, but also the fact that, and let's just say it. Let's just say it. Wait, what did I say? 2023, right? Let's just admit it. Fight Club
Okay.
is a white
Please.
man movie.
Oh.
It's a movie for white men, and it's okay. That's okay. It is. No,
Now you're offending the people.
I'm being
Think about the white man, Jayla.
I am, and clearly they were. But the film is made for white men, which is fine. We can still gather things
What
from
film
it.
in the 90s were not Jayla? What film in the 90s was not made for white men? Let's be honest.
White Men Can't Jump. That was the 90s, I think. House Party, right? We got some Marlon Wayans in there. We got stuff for us, but that was a white film.
Ooh.
Okay. You got Brad Pitt, Helena, like
Yeah.
those characters are clearly, it's for a specific audience. And then we have Bottoms, which is very much for us. It's for queer people, it's for black people, it's like a mixed bag. And it's also
I'd
for,
say
let me just say,
it's for black people, Jayla.
I would
Weird.
say it's
It's
for
seasoned with
minorities.
sugar.
Huh? It's what
I
with sugar?
disagree with you on that one. It's seasoned. It's a seasoned version, but with sugar, not with anything else.
How do you
Listen,
dissect that?
it's
What?
gay.
Okay.
Okay, no. So I don't think. Okay, first of all, I know this is a Fight Club review, but let me address this real quick. What in what world is Bottom a POC film? It is diverse,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's a queer film. I wouldn't call it a POC film because, like, imagine like a straight white man, no, straight black man trying to watch that movie. Mm, imagine that, Jayla.
So okay, so queer, but also like, so because clearly I am a BIPOC woman, a woman. It's obviously for women too. So excuse me.
Yeah,
Uh,
queer women.
which is
I wouldn't say.
I was gonna say, which is almost the complete opposite of Fight Club. Because Fight Club, clearly, one of the
Yeah.
rules was no women allowed ever. The only women that we see,
Mm,
like that is close to the characters, is quite
mm-hmm.
messed up, almost as messed
Yeah.
up as him.
It is Helena
Yes,
Bonham Carter as Marla.
honestly,
Marla.
that woman, she knows her role. She's been typecasted as the crazy lady in everything I've ever seen of her.
Mm-hmm.
Which go
She's a
off,
crazy lady.
she's the crazy lady.
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Nothing against crazy ladies. You know I love me some Jayla. But
Oh,
yeah.
you have the nerve. You have the
This-
okay. I got you. I got you.
wait. Speaking of the cast, do you know who else is in this movie?
Yeah.
Like, did you recognize anyone? Like, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
who
So the
who did you
first,
recognize from?
obviously, Helena, crazy lady. Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
The
Brad Pitt.
yes, like the
Brad Pitt when he was hot. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in that movie.
Listen,
Okay.
there were some scenes.
Uh,
I'm not gonna lie.
oh, you with them
Mm.
crazies? You said you like some crazy. You like some crazy.
No, no,
Got
no,
you.
no,
No.
no, 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 no.
Well,
That is not what I meant.
I heard the whole
We'll,
thing.
we'll, we'll talk about it.
Subtext.
We'll talk about it later
Fine.
on.
Fine.
But anyways,
And
you
then
know
the
who
main
else?
character.
So Brad Pitt, Tyler Durant, something. Yeah,
Yes, obviously
yeah.
Brad Pitt. And then the main character that we follow, what was he? Did he even like have his own
hmm
name?
In the movie, guess what his name was? Don't look it up. Don't cheat.
Wait, I thought he
What's his
had
name in the film?
I thought he had just like a bunch of different
hmm
names that wasn't like
mm
Tyler.
So the main character was Edward Norton, and his name for the character for the film, if you
Mhm.
search him up in any casting in anything, it comes up as the narrator. That's it. That's the
Exactly.
name.
Exactly. Because
The
he's
narrator,
yeah.
which was bonkers. Because I mean, yeah, listen, that film was on some.
Hmm.
It was like in the 90s.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were high. Anyways.
But couple things about it being in the 90s. But first going to Edward Norton. Him act as an actor, I know him from a couple of things, but the most recent one that comes to mind is Knives Out. It was the newest Knives Out movie, the second one, which is called Glass Onion. And it's so crazy because obviously that was now, and or now being like a year ago, and this was in the 1990s. And in Glass Onion, he plays this like this pompous kind of, what's his name, Elon Musk as character. Literally, the bane of this
Mm.
character's existence, he plays 23 years later. Isn't that crazy? He plays this Elon Musk. He's basically Elon Musk. He's the rich guy. He doesn't care. He has wealth. He spends it on whatever he wants. He has a car.
How is it the same guy?
Right, right, right. It's a complete.
What?
You're saying, how does he go from this actor where he's like
No, you said what? I'm confused. Sis,
Knives Out,
you said
Glass Onion?
yes.
He
Okay.
plays the spoilers for that movie, the main bad guy in that movie, Miles Braun,
Okay.
where he is basically Elon Musk. So think of Elon Musk. He's
Okay.
rich. He does all the material gain. He has all the
You
pleasures.
lost the pluses. What's
You're
the
not following, which is fine.
comparison?
It's fine. Let me slow it down
No.
for you a little bit. So he plays this
Yeah, dumb it down.
billionaire. He plays this billionaire
Okay.
in this movie.
Rich.
But in Fight
Okay.
Club, he's literally anti-capitalism. He hates he starts to like feel this. disgusting pull towards the material things in life. That's why he goes off the grid and stuff. I'm
Mm.
just saying how
So you're
completely
saying they're opposites.
exactly
Okay.
23 years
Okay.
later. It's just crazy.
Okay. Work. Listen, I want to get a little bit more into like the meat of this.
Go
Okay.
for it.
We already said spoiler warning, so we're just gonna be jumping around.
Hmm.
Jayla,
Hmm.
weren't the twist?
Take
Were
your
they
time.
twisting Jayla?
Take your time.
Were the twist twisting?
Woo.
They were
The
twisted more than those twists you have on right now.
girl, you have the
Those
nerve.
twisting.
It's twisted more than when you go to bed and you try to put those twists in little lumps on your head. It's worse than that. It's crazy.
Why you gotta do me like that? Why you
Listen,
gotta do me like
if
that?
we're being
I
honest,
don't understand.
if we're being for real right now, that like I feel like nowadays the "ooh, it was me all along" is a common trope, but I imagine in the 1990s that was like this man, this man just invented this. Do you feel that way? Because they said
A
Dr. Jekyll and
twist.
Hyde. No, the actual what was the twist, Edgar? Go ahead and say it. Say it.
Well, the twist is that bro was broing. I mean, I guess this man was this is whatever yeah.
Yeah?
This man had like multiple personalities or something. Clearly that
Mm-hmm.
because okay, so we first like get introduced to it as like um he has what's it called like damn I forgot the name the sleeping thing
Insomnia.
narcolepsy.
Insomnia.
I thought it was narcolepsy.
I think he said both, but I think it's supposed to be more like insomnia.
Hmm.
Like he just can't sleep.
Yeah, they didn't know there's things back then. Yeah, yeah. So bro couldn't sleep. No, but also no, because I remember
Mm-hmm.
he said narcoleptic like at the beginning. Yeah, because I remember thinking because he also he in that same census he said like I go to sleep in one place and then wake up in like somewhere else that I didn't know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, that's not narcolepsy though. You're like sleepwalking or something.
Mm-hmm.
And to come to find out, he was. This was the inspiration for Moon Knight. I'm telling you right now. Mm-hmm.
You're
It's
canceled.
the same
What?
plot. Listen,
Moon Knight,
it is. Am I lying?
part of the Marvel comics that has
Am I
been out
lying?
from how long ago? Girl, if anything, this was inspired by Moon Knight, maybe.
Listen, anything before the 2000s, I don't know. I wasn't alive.
You know what? Power to that.
The before time. Listen, but I don't know. It was a little.
The
It, it,
twist.
I did not see that coming.
Uh-huh.
Did you see it
I
coming?
didn't like up until the like final
I mean, you don't have your
seconds.
glasses.
All right. Where's yours? Right, right. I see you squinting.
You're
Anyways,
right here.
anyways, anyways, I didn't. And then I realized at the beginning of the movie, there were like flashes of something on the screen. I had no idea what that was. It was like four. I only caught like four
What's
of
that
it.
penis?
It
I don't think it was the
it wasn't
penis.
that one
I think it
yet.
was the lady.
No, it wasn't the lady. It was of
It wasn't
Tyler.
the lady?
It was of Tyler. It was yeah. He
Really?
like appeared.
Like,
Yeah,
oh, that's scary.
and like
I thought it was glitching or something.
me too. I was like,
I was like, oh, there's a bug.
ooh. But no, I was
What were
like,
you gonna say?
we ain't gotta say it. We ain't gotta say it.
We were probably thinking the same thing. It's okay. We don't have to expose ourselves.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
yeah, so I guess from the very start of those him going to those meetings, that character was in his
Hmm.
mind. It just wasn't like fully formed yet.
Hmm. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
This man was willingly going to like support her.
Right. Right.
That is some white man.
I was gonna say that. I was just about to say that. And then when him and the woman was like, all right, but I want what was it? I want the cancer patients. able-bodied people discussing over which freaking thing they wanted, like they were like the children that they didn't love. Crazy
No,
concept. Crazy
those were
concept.
like kids picking their toys out for Christmas. They needed some entertainment or something. Oh no, that is Jayla. When I tell you, it fits because that is some white people shit. If I've ever seen one,
And that's
that
what
is
I'm
some
saying.
caucasity.
This is a white man movie, and it's through that, it's through how easy they can commit this crime and it not be like the
Right,
consequence come back to them at all. It's like a white man's wet dream. That's how I describe this movie, a white man's wet dream.
Jayla. You know what I'm realizing?
What?
Who's gonna be clicking on this podcast? They're gonna be dragging. It's okay.
Prove
We're
me
tough.
wrong. Prove me wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting that this is a movie, this is a white man's fantasy. And like, I think acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
that though, like, is the only way to see that subtext.
Mm.
Like doing this crime, being animalistic against each other. There were black men in the film. There were multiple races in the film. Let's like admit that
There
too.
was one black man in the
Oh,
Fight Club,
not you counting.
and bro had no lines. There was one black person that did have lines in the film. It was the lady that sat at the bus with him, and she was like sitting right next to him. And then I think he was like, oh, in the plane. It was in the plane, and he
Oh
was
yeah.
explaining like the stress that happened, like in the car company that he works at,
Mm-hmm.
and oh blah blah, and people just be dying, but like, hey, whoa,
It's
we're not
like,
doing recall.
oh, does that happen
And then
often?
the lady
It's like,
was like, no, the black lady was like, what, and where do you work for? Like, what corporate do you work for? He's like, a big one.
she's asking
Like,
the
oh,
right questions. I would never get on a car
mhm.
again.
She's not driving. She's gonna be like you.
You calling her Rosa Parks right now, getting on that bus? That's crazy to hear, Edgar. That's crazy to hear.
First of all, they were on a plane,
Right,
and
and she
she
gonna
could be a
either be on a
passenger
plane
princess.
or
She
bus.
could be a passenger princess. I know Uber was not a thing back then in the Asian days. However,
Passenger
they had the
princess.
yellow
That's still a
taxi.
car. That is still a car.
Mm, that is still a car, Jayla.
That is still a
She
car.
better walk.
Oh Lord, I'm
She's an old
tired.
time. She was an older lady, so you know
Right,
they people they used to walking.
right.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. Because that's awful. And also that brings me to
Listen.
another point. When we were talking about this being in the 1999 exactly, what was going
Mm-hmm.
through my head at that moment was at the end of the film when we see all these buildings being blown up. That was two
Mm.
2 years. Girl, I short circuited for a second. That was
You were
two
there,
years.
man. We don't know.
That was 2 years before 9/11. Isn't that crazy? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine all bomb related stuff at that time was obviously a touchy subject.
Mm.
So, like, having that be the last scene, not that they could predict the future,
Mm.
because Jesus, but
Now let me check something real quick. Wait, who
what you about to
directed this
check?
movie? I'm trying to see who directed this movie. Wait,
Oh, okay. But in
who
the
directed Fight Club?
meantime,
I
that
don't
like
know.
subtext that wasn't there when the film came
Mm-hmm.
out, but us now
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, oh, that was around that time.
Mm-hmm.
These acts of
Yeah.
terrorism.
Do you want to know what happened?
What?
So the director was David Fisher, and the production company was 20th Century Studios, right?
Mm-hmm.
They make money when that happened in 2001. The stocks went up. They started making them coin. Them royalties started coming through. They're like, oh, now they're predicting the future. They were like, they thought, no,
Oh.
people back then probably thought they were the Simpsons or something. They were like, oh, watch the movie again.
Ooh, I did not see that coming. Well,
Don't cancel me, y'all. It's
okay.
okay. We can
If
laugh
that's just
about it now.
history, then you can't. That's wow.
Right. This is true.
But it goes along with what I said earlier about like this being able to commit these crimes and like no real consequence coming back to these people. These towers, we
Hmm.
don't see the consequence of it
But I don't
because
think.
yeah,
But I don't think they had like detectives back then. Like
Well,
police detectives. I don't think that was a thing back then
there
too.
was we
So
were
it's like
there was like one guy who was investigating. Remember the dude who called him?
that's weird. You know why?
Why?
I think I read somewhere that 911 was invented after 9/11. Like that's why it's 911.
I think
So I'm
that's
like,
false. Right?
that's true. Search it up. Google it. Mm-hmm. 911 became a thing after 9/11 happened.
I know
That's why,
airport
like,
security
oh,
became a
we need.
thing, but
Mm.
when
That's
was
why we're like, oh, we need security details. That's I think that's when the police was
yeah,
invented.
no,
Hmm
no, you're wrong.
I think that no, because they had like sheriffs back then and
You're
stuff.
wrong. It was
Mm.
placed in 1968.
Really? And it was
Yes.
9/11. Oh
Yes.
no, they predicted it. Damn.
What?
Because they happened on 9/11. Listen. Mm.
Yeah. But
See,
airport
then
security got
conspiracy
intense.
theorists were right.
Airport. Oh, that's the thing though. Airport security got intense after 9/11. Obviously, it was like directly
Yeah.
correlated. Um,
Mm-hmm.
had this movie came out because he was always traveling by plane, a little bit.
That man was in a plane. No, that's white people money. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, every which
Saying no
way,
way.
going like every week on
Mm-hmm.
a
Every
plane.
a
No,
plane
no.
to every major city in America. I
Mhm.
think that was the plot. Every major city in America. How you got that much money? Ooh, you got them ancestors money, huh? Guess
He
we don't
wasn't
that. We
charging
don't have
anybody for
that.
the Fight Club.
That's money.
Yeah,
Rich.
it was because of the people to
Damn.
keep his mouth
Imagine.
shut.
Ooh,
Right, right, right. And also, let's talk
keep
about
his
that
mouth shut.
because that was a super
Mm,
smart play on Tyler's move. Because he knew if he disappeared, remember,
mm-hmm.
Tyler, the alter ego, he knew if he disappeared, that our main character, the narrator, would follow him to each city. And all that meant was Tyler himself, when the main character went to sleep, would be able to be in each city, making sure those fight clubs were happening. So you realize that he double crossed him. He played his ass. He
He played himself, Jay.
he was playing with himself.
He played himself. Mm-hmm. He probably enjoyed it too.
He probably.
Mm.
Ooh, that being said, this movie has some like interesting quotes that I wanted to talk to you about. Can I bring up a couple quotes and I want to hear your thoughts on them?
Quote me.
Okay.
Quote me, Jayla. Quote me.
Tyler says self-improvement is masturbation, but self-destruction is blank. He never finished that sentence. What do you think the blank was? Because I have an idea.
Mm.
Or
As a fellow masturbator myself, I let me
he said by
wait,
experience.
repeat that.
So he said self-improvement is masturbation,
Mm.
but self-destruction is blank. So I imagine what's the opposite of masturbation? Is that
Chastity.
chastity?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Mm-hmm.
self-destruction? Ooh,
Mm.
work. Speak
See,
to the
you're destroying yourself, Jay.
ah.
Um. Anyway.
I'm not taking that from a white film. I'm not taking it. Anyways, another quote. Let me throw out another quote at you.
You better get your ass. You read this up a lot.
It's true. And I said it.
I said what I said, and I meant it. Period. We're keeping 100% real. Told y'all. No, damn.
One thing, Marla's crazy. Like crazy in the sense that she does not give who cares in the world. She'll walk in the middle of the street, doesn't care. I lost it when she
They're
went.
both crazy. They do stuff each other.
They do. She went into a laundromat, grabbed clothes.
She's so smart.
It. Gagged.
That was queen shit right there. That is what I call a hustler, J-Lo.
Just someone's clothes. They're like, nice. Boop.
She didn't see it. You know what? Not done giving us ideas.
Ideas is crazy. No. Ideas is crazy.
But they didn't have cameras back then, so like now we would get caught, so we can't do
so
it.
Security,
we saw this from too
it
late.
all comes back to security being so like lax in the 90s ish. that we wouldn't be able to get away with today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the quote that she said was, "The condom is the glass shoe of our generation." Give her her flowers. Give her her
The
flowers.
condom is the
Let's
glass
let's
shoe.
explain it. Let's explain it.
What's it? Like
Glass.
Cinderella?
Yes,
Mm.
glass shoe.
Cinderella. I don't get it.
Let's.
Yeah, Cinderella. What does
So
Cinderella do?
Cinderella, she lost her glass shoe, and that exposed
Mm-hmm.
who she was. Right, right. Or she explained it better in the film. I can't remember, but she was
Mm.
like,
You lost your. Mm. You know what happened? Listen,
"Tell me."
she lost her glass shoe like Cinderella. Cinderella lost that glass shoe, and then that man, like, she was stuck with that man after that. She couldn't go nowhere. That's like a condom. You get baby trapped for that man.
Girl, I was so floored, my headphone came out. Ooh, you speaking truth, huh? Wow, truly riveting. I gotta
Oh
say,
my god. For the people who are listening and can't see, Jayla's headphone just popped out. Mm.
like one of those cartoon characters where you're like,
Oh, so funny. Popped out like a glass shoe on Cinderella's foot. Mm.
ooh, tying it all together. Yeah.
Mm.
And I have
Anyways,
another quote. It's less funny. It's more, I want to like talk about this a little bit more because this movie was so, it was so nihilistic, right? It was so like gritty and like, it just talked
mm,
about, it kind of like made the world seem gray and depressing and like we're all
I
kind of,
mean,
yeah. So, what? Not me agreeing. Listen. So the quote,
I think we lost Jayla for a little. Jayla, I think we lost you. Anyways, so I think what Jayla was trying to say is salt. So these people were salty. We'll wait till she joins back. But these people were salty because I don't know why. Listen, this man, the narrator, this man had a nice life. He had a company. He worked at a company actually. He had a nice apartment. See, that's something that we have to talk about. That nice apartment. So this man lived at IKEA. He lived at IKEA. Yeah, his house was literally an IKEA like what's it called? Like a display. He was obsessed. I'm not gonna lie. I would have never thought a straight man would own like that beautiful house, but like it makes sense because he just copied and pasted everything that he got from IKEA. But however, let's go to the point. So his poor little furniture and everything that he had blew up. But plot twist, he blew that stuff up himself. And I think it kind of got a little bit teased during that part that he was talking to the police officer, the detective. He was also black. Mm. He was talking to the detective. He's like, "Yo, um, I'm trying to figure out who blew up your house." And then we see Tyler just walk around and be like, "Just say you did it. Just tell him you did it." And it's like, "Oh, but he didn't do it because like he was away on a business trip or something." But like plot twist, he actually did do it, and I was not expecting that at all. Um, so um, I'm not. I don't know where Taylor is. Wait, hold on. Give me 1 second. Hmm. Her computer probably died. Okay, let me tell y'all something about Jayla. And as we keep doing like podcasts, y'all probably gonna like figure this out. Jayla's computer or phone or whatever is constantly dying. That girl cannot have something charged for the life of her. So I'm pretty sure that the computer died. Okay. I think we are almost gaining her back. So that's good. However, when she comes back, we're gonna find out what happened. Mm. But also, we're gonna keep talking about that film, and that is that like symbolism or something. The IKEA furniture, basic, bland. Hmm. I don't know. It was nothing basic and bland about this movie. This movie was crazy. It was a shroom trip. Hmm. Now that I know what that feels like, I don't know. Pero okay. Something that I forgot to mention when we were talking about the cast was the fact that Jared Leto was in this movie and he was the blonde guy. So I'm pretty sure I think. So that was pretty weird seeing Jared Leto because the memory of me seeing Jared Leto on screen is the Suicide Squad movie, the first Suicide movie that came out, him as a Joker, and then Morpheus, which oh, so based on the reaction that I got from like different people, my friends, and like social media in general, was that didn't care for him. But I don't know. I mean, this movie has so many characters that I feel like he kind of blended into the background. So nothing really popped out with him. So I see that Jayla's back. Jayla, what
Hey,
happened? What
you'll
happened?
never believe my whole house like came down in a tumbling fire. You'll never believe it. It was
Mm,
like at the end of the movie where like
yeah.
everything went up in flames. That just
Mm-hmm.
happened.
That's what
It's this
happened.
only corner stayed still. Like it's only this corner that's still here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm. Did your
No, my,
laptop
my
die?
laptop didn't die or anything. No, it was literally
Okay,
doomsday.
so your computer died.
No, 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 no. Never,
No,
never.
no, of course not. Okay,
Not
okay,
me.
but
Yeah.
it's okay.
So I noticed you still on here. What you talk about while I was gone? All good stuff, I hope.
So, I mean, I caught them up on your history with your devices not dying.
Oh,
And
it's good to hear.
also, we started talking about the IKEA furniture, all the IKEA furniture that man had in the IKEA the place house that was his apartment.
I hope
Hmm.
IKEA like bought some of
They
this movie
sponsored
out for
that
them.
movie. Hmm.
Right.
They must have
Must
gotten a
have,
nice
because
paycheck. Mm. But we also talked about Jared Leto because he was in this movie too.
he
And
was? Who?
oh,
I didn't
really?
know
You didn't
that.
know that? Oh, he was the
No.
blonde one, the
The
blonde
one he
ass
beat
tech
up.
guy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was
Really?
Jared Leto. Hmm. Angel Face. He played Angel Face.
I guess I do not know
Hmm.
what that man looks like. So because he could be
He
walking down the
blended into the
street.
background. That's what we discussed. He blended into the background quite a bit,
Okay.
but he because there was so many freaking characters in this movie, like
There
not
was.
like background characters too, because
Right.
like. Mm. But yeah, so we talked a little about that, and we also were kind of dabbled on the topic of um that he blew up his own apartment because the plot twist clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's interesting to see that go down. I will say something that I liked about this movie was the editing. So
Yeah.
there was this sequence. It was, I think it was his apartment when it was about to blow up. Like he was narrating like that happening, and we
Yeah.
kept seeing the camera go to the apartment to see how it went down, and then like the music changed. Like it was like da-da-da-da, and then like when it's the other scene, and then it continued,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was done like amazingly. I think,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it was a quite a smart movie. Like here and there. How do you feel about the fourth wall breaking? Because that kind of
Yeah.
happened quite a bit.
I was about to say that when you mentioned like editing wise, because
Hmm.
I think of when they were talking about Tyler's job. Is that what you're thinking of? Because they were talking about him. Remember peeing in the soup and putting pornography in like in between kids movies, and during that time they would like talk to each other while our narrator was like looking and telling us to the screen,
Mhm.
which was so interesting because I guess that was like kind of letting us know that this character is in his head, because there's no other reason for him to like outwardly tell us what Tyler's character is. Like we could have just seen it, but the director's choice to like specifically look at the camera and tell them that, hey, we need to tell you what this character is because he's unlike the other characters. He's in his mind. Or that's how I
Mhm.
kind of read that situation after everything, which is so cool to think about because he's a jerk. He's, oh, can you imagine eating pea soup? Pea soup.
Pea soup.
Pea soup.
Don't listen until you try it, Jayla. Anyways,
I will fight
I think
everybody in that club.
in the
Fight
club.
club. I would join the fight club.
You can't join the Fight Club.
You don't, yeah. I'm black and I'm a woman. There's no way. Not my
Anyway,
audience.
mm. Let's talk
No,
about the
but
Fight Club itself, though,
mhm,
because I think that like ha- there were so many branches of that club, and everyone was
yes.
involved. He had like the police department involved in everything.
Yes.
Philip, what would you do if you found out that your alter ego had built this empire without, like, has your alter ego built this whole empire? Hmm.
I'd be so jealous. I'd be so jealous.
Like, it's you.
Imagine. No, it's not me. It's like a part of my brain that I can't even access doing so much better than me in my body. It's going places, it's gathering
Mm-hmm.
people, it's able to speak without care, it's able to like trick me into thinking it's another person. I'd be so jealous. I oh, you say what you want to say about it, and then I want to bring it back to bottoms real quick. But go off. How did you like? What would you do in that situation? Because
I'll be
besides,
so
you wouldn't be
happy. I'll be
jealous.
content. I wouldn't be jealous. I think I'll be like, okay, work. You know what? I'll be the one that does it, and then like my alter ego is like, oh shit, you know.
You'll be the
But
crazy. You know what? Yeah.
no, I wouldn't.
Mm,
Like I would want to, but I can't. You know, I don't have
mm,
that mind processing skill. But I'll be happy. I'll be like, you better
mm.
work. You'll be like, here you go, hand my bio over. It's yours.
You'll
You know
be
what you're
you'll
doing.
be your number
I
one
don't know what I'm
supporter.
doing. I'll be my number one fan. Like, as you freaking should. We'll be a team, Shayla.
That's
We would be a
crazy to
team in
hear.
that.
That's
Imagine you have this like underworld, like established, like very deep crime empires that goes all over the country. Those are goals.
I'd be so scared. Like even the police
Sure.
department, he tried to cut off his balls because he tried to blow the whistle on himself. Imagine you want to step out of
Mhm.
that, like you get
But
all
that's the
this.
thing. Would you blow the whistle on yourself? I wouldn't blow the whistle on myself. I'd be like, okay, work. As long as you're not harming people that I care about,
That
go
you
out.
care about,
You're not harming people that I care about, and you're not getting caught. Those are my requirements. Go off, bitch.
so they
Mhm.
can harm someone that you don't care about.
Let's be fucking for real, J Lo.
You
Do you
think
care
that's
about
okay? Oh my
that?
god.
Would you care about that?
I would. I would feel so
You
guilty
would.
knowing that my like
But I'm saying you.
I
You just said
already
it. That's not me. That's the other bitch. So
that's what
you
I'm
just said
saying.
it.
I also just have this really like weird fear of not being
Ah,
in control of my body, like
yeah,
in
that's
general.
true. Mm-hmm.
So like the idea of sleepwalking and not knowing what happened freaks me out so much that I would be scared.
Mm,
I would be scared is better. I don't think I'd be
mm.
jealous. I'd lock
You're
myself
better than
somewhere.
me. I'll be like, Jesus, take the wheel. Mm.
That's crazy.
I'm
Ooh,
not gonna be
you know to
shooting
check on
myself
you.
though. Mm.
If you ever get a
That's
corporate job,
crazy. Cause
check
like
on you first.
it's crazy because like we saw this little tease of like what's coming, especially when he was trying to like blackmail the boss, like his boss, and he started like beating himself up. And
Yeah.
like that's how he does it. Like because like at the end of the movie, we later saw that like, oh, He's been doing that like forever.
Does
Apparently,
this
we just
right?
Jayla, if you saw someone outside the bar beating
Leave,
themselves up like that,
leave.
would you be like, "Oh, that's cool, yeah, me next"? like
Again,
that's so.
white people shit. You know,
It
I'll
is.
finish your sentence because
Mm-hmm.
there's no way. Don't walk
It
into dark
is.
alleys. If you see someone acting crazy, go the other way.
That's some Caucasian
There,
confidence. That's some Caucasian confidence. hmm
because no.
That is insane. I could.
Oh, that was
Mm,
another question that I had because the scene you just brought up when
mm,
he was fighting himself in front of the boss. I
yeah.
think I wrote. Let me see. How do you combat lunacy? Meaning, what do you do when someone's just crazy and you want to get away from them? Like, you comply with it. That's what the boss did. He complied. He gave him his money, but he got kicked out of there. So, like, is it compliance? Is that the same reason why some women can like bark like a dog at night to unwanted attention and like get them off of them? Get like these guys they don't want near them off of them. So like in that instance, good, nice. But also in this instance, it's like, dang, being crazy is so scary.
It
Being a
is.
crazy person is so scary to somebody who's like has to follow the rules. Isn't that like an insane concept to think about? Like all you have to do is
I
all
mean,
you right?
that sounds like America. I don't know what. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
We
That
see
sounds like
all these people
Florida.
doing all the.
That sounds like New York subways.
Those were Florida man. Those were all Florida men.
The
hmm
narrator
If
is
you
from
ever
Florida,
heard just
actually.
like Florida man, that makes sense. Like Florida man,
Yeah.
like that. That's what it was giving. Florida man.
Yeah.
They were all Florida man.
They were all
Yeah,
whew,
yeah, yeah. Florida men. hmm
scary.
Anyway,
But crazy. Crazy works, I
that's our
guess.
future
That
go
was
to
some
Florida. Mm. This is a bunch of fight. They probably do have fight clubs in Florida. I'm
they
not gonna
probably
lie.
do.
You see that man trying
Yeah.
to tussle down with some alligators and no. Mm-mm.
They moved on from humans to just alligators.
They
Ooh.
devolved. They're cavemen down there again. They're fighting
Caveman
dinosaurs,
is
literally.
crazy.
They're out there fighting dinosaurs. I
Makes them
don't
stronger,
know.
I guess.
Jayla, they're gonna
But
come so hard for us in these
prove me wrong. I'm down for a discussion. I love discussion. Let's talk about it. Be for real though. Like let's BFF real when you come in the comments, because you know I know how you girls like to tussle. I just want to make sure it's a good
Not the
tussle,
girls.
not like a
You know
fight
that I'm not
club.
gonna be the girls coming. They're gonna be the Florida men. They're gonna all come for
Florida
her.
men coming and coming. I'm running. I'm running in the other direction. Fuck the conversation. Nah, nah,
Mm.
nah, nah, nah. Anyways, um, I wanted to bring it back to what you said earlier in this discussion, bottoms. Because, yes, we watched that earlier, and obviously the girls were inspired to create a fight club. I don't think there was like the idea of a fight club before this movie. And every
Mm.
movie after it that kind of talks about it is referencing this movie. So, Fight Club. I think, like you said, the parallels aren't so extreme. The biggest parallel
Mm.
is that they create a club where they can fight each other, and it gives
Wow.
this praise.
Who would have
Thank you,
thought?
thank you.
Look at you.
Ah, film major here.
ah,
No, but and
major.
then also it's like the connection that this club forms. Now, for bottoms, it's obviously a more, would you say wholesome connection? They're not like gritty. It's not this gritty world. They're like eventually it becomes a more wholesome connection between these girls who want to be able to like fight to like defend themselves. At first it was just, to get down and dirty, which, you know, but at the end of it they're friends. Even the ones who don't get together, they're like cool with each other, and that's like the positive note. But in here in Fight Club, obviously the gritty undertones, it's kind of making fun of people who, or I think this is satire towards people who, what's the word? Like, they're so caught up in the idea that, oh yeah, capitalism is worthless, which I believe, by the way. Capitalism is so worthless. I'm just gonna do the opposite and break the bank and like do crime, get pussy, stuff like that. I think it's kind of making fun of those bro types because at the end of it, you're hurting yourself. He realized that he wanted to take responsibility and blow the whistle on himself because he realized that, yo, this is bad. This is hurting people. This is crime. I'm doing actual boats of crime that I don't think I should be doing. But in the satire sense, it's like, no, like, duh, you've been doing crime since you blew up your house or your apartment, your hotel apartment. He has been doing crime ever since that moment.
I'm gonna disagree with you because
Okay.
I think going to these like AA meetings, seeing like support groups, that must be a crime. So he started way earlier than that because there is no way. No, no, no. Bro was okay. No, all right, finish your point because I want to bring something
It
up
should
real
be a
quick
crime. Yeah.
because something had me for a loop.
I think my ending to that was the comparison between bottoms and that, but also one more comparison. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Before I knew they were the same person, I thought they were a little gay for each other. And let me explain.
Mm.
The narrator was especially more fond towards Tyler, but I felt like, especially when the triangle started happening between Tyler, the woman Marla, and the narrator was clearly like upset, like disturbed, kind of like wanting to keep Tyler for himself.
Really? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And um in doing so, he was kind of like wedging himself between Marla and Tyler. At first it seemed like a little kid would, like the way a little kid would try to like get in between each other. But
Yeah.
as it continued to progress, I remember him saying, you and me, relationship between you and me. And there was like, I don't know, I felt this underlying, like, now I know that that was him kind of like not consoling his inner mind, but it was him like attaching himself to this character so much because he at some level knew that Tyler was the man he wanted to be, so he was trying to like get close in that way. But at the time, and I feel like you could do a more thorough character analysis on this. I feel like there are some hidden subtext between the narrator and Tyler. Not romantic per se, very toxic, not romantic, but like the feeling of lust in there somewhere. Do that research if
Hmm.
it hasn't been done.
Okay.
That's my
You
opinion.
hit,
Yeah.
well, you heard it here first, folks. Jayla says, and I quote, Fight Club is a
Them.
homosexual movie. It's a homosexual experience. She just said Fight Club and Bottoms, same thing. It's
I
a
did not
remake.
say that. There's
Mm.
no way.
Ooh, they better come for you harder. Like, how dare you
Listen,
put this queer
let's
stuff
talk
on film?
about it. Let's talk
Anyways,
about it. You're afraid
listen,
of discussion, huh?
no, you know what I peeped though, like when you were saying that. So this whole time, this man was banging. The narrator was banging Marla like her life out, like constantly banging her life
Yes.
out. And remember that scene that happened like after we got like that montage of like them constantly having sex, of him going, can you check my breast? I have this lump. I think I have cancer. And he was so cold towards her, like that whole time. Like he was like, and he's like, oh, can I check for you? He's like, no, are we done now? Like she kissed him too. And he's like, are we done now? Imagine, imagine
No.
that would, oh, that's insane. Like it,
I would
but she
cry.
was not bad. She kept going back. She was
She must
down
have thought like,
bad for that skinny little man.
yeah, it must have been good. Cause
It
there's
must have
no
been
way.
great. She said it, but said she had since what, like preschool, elementary school, something like that.
That's right. And you
I
know what I
was,
realized? During those sequences, we saw it from the narrator's point of view. Like he was downstairs,
mm,
he was like doing,
I
he was
know.
in the bed and stuff. So that means during the act, he was like projecting himself. He wasn't even like in the room. So he's just that good without even paying attention to her is crazy.
Oh,
Best sex of her life. And he wasn't even, ooh,
bro got inches. You
inches bust down by. He's got
busting
feet.
something down.
No.
Anyway.
But yeah.
I was gonna say, like, speaking of Marla,
Mm.
can you believe how this girl was getting into the testicular cancer? And
Yeah,
no
that's kind of crazy.
she was sitting there. I would have been like, is this entertaining for you? Hello?
You know? And
Like,
I
would
that
you
was
do
messed
that?
up.
If you're feeling a
No.
little sad, you need something
No.
to make you feel a little better. You need to pick me up. You just go to a meeting of support group for men with testicular cancer. They're about to
You
die. Like,
you might as well attend a funeral. You might as well like go see someone on their deathbed.
you gotta attend one of the Caribbean funerals though, so you can get food. That's how we do it.
Writing that down.
Mm-hmm. Get free
But
food. Who are you? I was a friend. Y'all don't know me, but I was friend with them.
mm,
They can't know. They can't say
I'm a
nothing. Like
cousin.
condolences.
Pass the
I'm
pass the frijoles. No,
not frijoles. Girl, that is
listen,
not Caribbean.
listen. Oh, you said Caribbean? Listen, beans
That's
is at any
racist,
time food.
Jayla.
Beans is at any time food. Even in the
Frijoles?
funeral.
What the heck?
Even. But no, I was gonna say about that scene. While she was going to those meetings, he immediately was like, she can't be here. She's a fibber. She's a tourist. That girl, she doesn't have any of this stuff. The audacity.
The kettle black. Listen, that is an entitled white man,
Right.
and you know it. As he
Shorties.
should. Listen, if you can, go on.
He was like, you need to leave. I can't sleep with you here. I'm like,
This is funny because she was trying to go to sleep too. I think. I don't know. These people are
no,
crazy.
no.
These people are crazy.
No, she was like, it's cheaper than the movies and I get free coffee here. That's the reason why she went to those things.
Honestly, though.
So messed up. Don't go back on what you said. That
We
should
should
be
do that
illegal.
once.
No,
One day, no.
that's so
Like just pop
crazy.
in. Listen,
Oh
we'll
my
pretend to be
god.
like a couple. We'll go to like a support group for like estranged couples with children or something. We'll just sit there like,
Not
and
with
Jayla,
children.
we'll get all the tea. Keep in mind, we'll get all the tea.
I don't
We'll
want
get
that
all the
tea.
music tea. You don't want
No.
the tea?
I don't want that tea. I don't need any more reasons to
It'll help you for
not
your
have a
cost.
child.
Now it'll help you for your cost of chastity. Which
No, listen. I have no
listen,
reason that you said it should be illegal. Don't go back on that now.
it
It
should.
should be.
It should be. You know what's not illegal?
Um,
Yeah, Jayla, you know what should be illegal?
what?
That scene, but they're at the movies and there's like children there, and then like trauma. They fly. That's
Yo,
bravo,
how? How?
bravo. Disney Plus interns take. Let's traumatize the masses.
He said, "F them kids. Let's put some." Oh my god! And then they got us at the end. That was funny. That was funny because
Oh,
so like context.
it was so
So,
floppy.
dude, it was. context. As a night job, Tyler would slice together pornography into clips of movies, but it would be like this tiniest frame. And like it would flash by, and people who thought they saw it would be like, and then the kids in the movie theaters who were just trying to watch, what was it, Cinderella or something, would just be like,
Cinderella.
cry, tears going down their face. And then at the end of the movie, as we're watching these towers explode,
Crumble.
full uncensored flash, and you know what it is because they talked about it, but you just have to go back for a second and click that pause button.
Oh, you clicked that pause button, Jayla. It was flaccid. It was white. It was
of course it was. Yo, I think that was a gotcha, bitch, for the people in the movie. It was like, oh yeah, this is a man's movie. They made me watch this. Good for them. Good for them.
You know what? That was probably the gayest movie of the night. I'm not gonna lie.
You kind of thinking about it now, right? Like you're like,
all the queers, they were like, there you go, representation. Yeah.
Oh, before I left, because my house, was in that tragic accident.
Yeah, your poor house.
I wanted to say a quote, and it's at the very beginning of the movie, and then like halfway in the movie, I'm connecting these two because they kind of are the same in the way that they're explained. So at the very beginning of the movie, it's the narrator. He's going to these meetings, and he says that losing all hope is freedom. And that's like a big driving idea of this movie. Only until you're at rock bottom are you free. So that's like the first quote. And then the second quote I want to talk about is when Tyler is making the narrator do the salt thing with his hand. Do you remember? Like he kissed it. That one man kisses another man's hand. I'm just saying.
The Pope.
What you trying to say about the Pope?
I mean,
no, redacted. Anyways, and then he puts the salt in it, and then he keeps it like he's trying to fight him so hard, and he's trying to go and like soothe it. And
they invented the ice challenge.
What does it say? Life imitates art. Exactly, life imitates art. But during that scene, he knows he can't move, so the narrator tries to think of his happy place. Like he keeps like trying to flash in. He tries to see his spirit animal or whatever they call it. But Tyler says, "Don't deal with it in the way that dead people do. Don't go to this happy place. Don't try to see comfort in the pain that you're currently in. The pain that you're currently in is real. It's you living in the moment." So these two quotes, like the fact that losing all hope is freedom, and the pain that you're feeling in the moment is you being you. Just how do you feel about that? Because like obviously this is a dark movie, so those themes of like freedom, you can only achieve it when you're at your lowest low and you have nothing to lose.
I don't agree. Listen.
Yeah.
Even if you don't got nothing to lose, that's not truly freedom because you have nothing. Like you're free in a sense that like fuck it, but like that's not truly freedom. You know who's truly free? Them rich ass billionaires. That's freedom. You could do whatever the heck you want. Because when you're broke and you have nothing to lose, like that means you have nothing. Like, how are you free?
Right.
Like, because you can't truly be free because you're either like, yes, you could like get whatever you want, like steal stuff, but
it's trying to like
I got
yeah.
when I was going into that rant, the scene of wait a minute when he got out the airport like after they met and then Tyler like stole someone's car. He was like, "Wait!" Like, I just like remember that for no reason. Anyways, yeah, I don't think being poor is freedom. It's kind of like you have like 5 seconds of freedom, but that's not truly freedom. Freedom's rich, which he
Mm,
could have achieved through that whole cult he had, and he still
mm.
has. Listen, I wish it was a part two like that. I would see like the build of the empire. Yes, he should.
And
Anyway,
that leaves another question because at the end of the movie he succeeded, and what he succeeded at specifically was it was destroying all debt. So all debt is gone. What would you do if all debt disappeared, Edgar?
I'll be
Like
happy.
I do not condone that act of terrorism. However,
You know what? I don't condone Joe Biden lying saying that he was gonna cancel all student loans. I still got all that. That if that was gone, I'd appreciate it. Biden,
take notes.
imagine because that's the that I got. Take it. like
That's
I'll be
but
happy because like I don't have to pay that back. Like that's more money in my pocket. But
right.
that'd be so great.
It's
Sugar daddies
completely
out there,
wiped.
what's up?
That's the
I'm
way into my
down.
heart. You said
Listen, I'm not
you
above that.
said
Jill, are you above
and
that?
you would too. I'm not. I would too for a check. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So
In the
hey.
words of Coco Jones, I would too for a
Anyways,
check.
speaking of that, you could tip me on Cash App at let's start that.
You said yes.
Yeah, show
But
your Cash App.
Doomsday Event, going back
So,
to the cyclical nature of this film is that it worked. His plan worked, even though
mm-hmm.
Tyler no longer exists anymore. Again, at the end of the film,
Mm.
which is crazy, which was crazy.
He shot himself in the face, Jayla. Would you shot yourself in the face? If I do it,
Would I?
I'm not gonna miss. I don't want to experience that pain. Listen, would you?
No, I wouldn't. That's not what I'm contemplating right now. I would not. The thing is,
Mm.
though, it's interesting because he was still kicking, even though he very clearly pulled the trigger. Like his face was
Well,
jacked up.
he shot himself like here, so I mean that's not gonna kill
Oh,
you. It's not
right.
gonna kill you.
But it
It's
did
gonna
kill
hurt.
Tyler. Yeah. But
I
it did
think it
kill
killed Tyler
Tyler.
because he's like, okay, I'm taking control. Like I got like he took the
Mm,
power away. Like I have the gun, you don't have the gun, and he was like, okay, one to back, pa. We're like, whoa,
symbolic death.
it's symbolic, symbolicism. Mm-hmm.
Symba- Sudoku.
Simba.
Symbolic. Sudoku. So yeah, but like he died, that's for sure. But his plan still succeeded. He did what he wanted to. He blew up the buildings. That's one. Two, there are just people underground now in fight clubs. Like he did that
Mm-hmm. He's
all
a
across the
king.
US.
Him, I
Yeah.
want a cult.
You want to go
Damn,
what?
I want a cult. You knew this. Mm.
I did.
Yo, any
And I wrote
cult
it down
leaders out
too.
there? Hit
Stop!
me up.
Not on my watch. Not on this channel. Please. But
Anyways, I did want to ask you, Jayla, at the beginning of the movie, you said, "Is this the right movie?" Why do you think it was not the right movie?
right. I thought it was not the right movie because the cover of the movie has Brad Pitt and he had a soap in his hand and I don't remember anything else. So I was like, wait a minute.
Where's the
I know
soap?
I can't tell actors apart very well, but that ain't Brad Pitt. I was like,
Where's the
there's no
soap? I
way.
was expecting some
Where's the
action.
soap?
Why are you gonna drop
And
it? No.
then
Um.
drop it. And also, I did not even hear what came out of my mouth. That's crazy. And then also, at the beginning of the movie, it was I didn't actually I didn't rewind, so I can't like remember. But was it Brad Pitt at the beginning of the movie, or did they conceal his face and voice? Because remember, it was like a flashback to he was like first in the chair tied up and the gun was in his mouth, but I don't think we saw that it was Brad Pitt holding the gun, right?
I have no idea.
I think they kept that concealed, which makes sense because of the whole reveal of like him
Mm.
betraying. But yeah, I think that scene was like it completely threw me off. What we did was, or what I did at least, is um around 15 minutes of the film, I started writing what my predictions were, right? Of
Mm.
like how the rest of the film would play out.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote that because at this point he was still going to those meetings where people were talking about death.
Mm.
I thought that that wasn't going to be enough for him. So he takes it a step further and finds this really dangerous club that's already present called a fight club. And I thought he was going to join and then completely overrun it. Boy, was I
Chill.
wrong.
That was your first mistake. Because first of all, as I said, as soon as like I was watching this movie, I was constantly preparing it to bottoms, and we know how bottoms went. So it's like, okay, the main character is gonna start the fight club, like
Right.
that was like in my head. But yeah.
Which is, that's fair. Like looking back, that's fair. But I wasn't like I remembered
Mm.
bottoms, but I wasn't constantly comparing it. I only compared it like maybe
Mm.
when the Fight Club was actually starting.
Yeah.
That's when I started thinking about it.
Hmm.
But no, at 15 minutes in, I really thought that he was just gonna la di da. I'm looking for people dying. Oh, a Fight Club. I want some of that.
Mm.
I was completely wrong. And at the end of it all, I think it was a solid twist and also a pretty solid movie. I really do. Like
Mm.
I think this is a movie that I want to look more into. I want to do a little more
Mm.
research about like character analysis and like because this is a cult classic. Cult classics have to be it for a reason,
Yeah,
and
it was a good movie. I agree.
mhm.
I'd
And
rewatch
like
it at some point.
you would
I
okay. I think I
would.
would
Would
too.
you? I think
Yeah.
we're watching it knowing like that twist that like, oh, this is
Mm.
like also all in the head. Yeah. Um yeah, I would definitely rewatch it. I think it's an interesting concept for me because going to this movie, I don't think of it as like a mental health movie or something like neurological like that.
Mm.
Because I mean, I did take um like some classes on like mental health and film, so that's kind of like an interesting topic to me too, and how
Mm.
mental health was portrayed. I mean, as we discussed earlier in the podcast, is how there were some like wording mistakes on like what he thought he had is like that's not really a thing. Which kind of, I mean, I think you could kind of excuse that now that you know that his whole perception of everything was just fucked completely.
Right.
But like I think that's also like something interesting like to look at like what is he doing, like how is he doing this, and like you know and the fact that like
Mm-hmm.
he didn't realize that he had this alter ego, or unless the alter ego was just showing up around this movie, but that's kind of not the case because we see like very early on in the movie like him taking the ship and then him coming back and like, oh, it's already blew up, you know
Right.
like how, so he planted that before that.
And like I
So
mentioned, like the little
mhm.
clips in between that was of Tyler like flashing on the screen
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
So
Um,
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it is an interesting concept, but
mhm.
I'd watch
And it's
again
like
like with that new perspective.
yeah, and it was at the time a modern day twist of like the Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where you got one villainous person and then another person who's trying his best to be good, but has this evil entity in the back of his head. Like, and I feel like it did that pretty cool in a modern day twist. Modern, of course, being 20 years ago now, which is crazy. But 20 years ago, the idea of that transferred into capitalism, where the guy who was trying his best had like this white collar job and he was trying to do the right things, where he's like just,
Mm-hmm.
doing the 9 to 5, coming home, go on trips, blah, blah, blah. but he has this nagging character in the back of his head who wants to say F all that. He wants to like be this like this primal person who doesn't care what other people think and like take his own life by force, even though it's the evil character, because he's doing it by force. He's doing it in detriment, I guess, not to like people, because he did have like contingency plans. But like another thing, so this is another thing that happened in the film where I was like, okay, not cool. Because there was a couple of like not cool moments. But one of them was, if you remember, when they started having like homework to do, one of the homeworks was to, it was like take a life or something like that. So he went to a convenience store
Mm.
and he grabbed the worker.
No, it was not
What
Second
was the,
Life. It was the have someone like start a fight with someone and have them beat you up. That
I
was
think it was a, yes, but there was like a more specific that they had. I I wish I remembered, but that was like, because he's not beating him up. He was just pulling a gun on him. That wasn't the homework. It was another one. It was, it wasn't Take a Life, but it was similar to that. And he said, "Meet me in the back." So he grabbed the convenience store clerk out of it,
yeah.
of the store, brought him to the back, put him on his knees, and said, "I'm going to shoot you." And then
Hmm.
he did this whole charade where he took out his wallet. He's like, "Oh, you wanted to be somebody? You wanted to be a veterinarian? You better go do that. And I'm gonna check up on you in a week. And if you're not in a veterinarian vet by that time, I'm going to kill you."
Well,
Now,
it
a couple
wasn't if
things
you're
about
not a
that.
vet. It's say if you don't do progress.
On
Because
that,
imagine
yes.
becoming a vet in a week, everyone would be like,
Right, right.
"Damn." No,
That'd be
I think
messed
that
up.
was spontaneous. I don't remember that being like a homework or anything.
Maybe. But that scene, there's a couple things about it that like awakened me to what is so wrong about the character. Because
Mhm.
a lot of things the character says, kind, if you have that privilege mentality, it kind of makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. But here's the thing: who is he to be that person to tell the other person, like, "Oh, you gave up on your dreams, you need to go back"? Or what he
Mhm.
said by the end of it, because there was no bullets in the chamber. Like, he checked the gun and there was no bullets, he was just faking it. He
Mhm.
said that that man, he's gonna have the best breakfast he's ever had tomorrow. Who
Mhm.
are you to make sure another man has the best breakfast he ever has that next day? Who
It's
do
a
you think you
romantic.
are? Screw all that. He really said, "I'm God. I'm going to make you see what you're missing." And that's the whole point of
Listen.
this this problem. He is looking at it as him being the savior, when in reality, who is he to be the savior? Why you? Why do you think you're so important? Is because you hit rock bottom, really? That's so messed up. That's one. And then two, in that same scene, he said that you need to go to college, to you need more education for that, don't you? College is capitalism. He's encouraging him to partake in
Well, college
capitalism.
worked back then in those days. Remember that.
You know what? I can't use my
Hmm.
modern mindset. All right, all right. I'll give it
Yeah,
some slack.
college was actually worth it back then in the olden
No.
days.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll retract
unfortunately.
that a little bit. With my modern mindset, my argument was going to be, you're literally encouraging him to partake in the system that you're trying to disrupt. You're going to ruin his life eventually because you're actively
Mm,
taking down that
the
system.
government. It'd be like that. It's called a
But yeah,
revolution.
so it's a little contradictory there, which
I
I
agree
think
with them.
it just
Cause
shows his
like,
character, you know?
hmm
It's like
yeah,
he's trying to be this tough guy, but he's like really just, he just does things impulsively, which doesn't make you tough. It's just, you're just crazy. You're crazy, bro.
yeah, that's true. Yes, I think
Yes.
everyone in this movie, besides some of the like side characters, were definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the people speaking lines were definitely insane. But yeah, I think I agree. Anyways, before we end it, you have like any last thoughts or anything like lasting impressions of this movie?
About the movie, I actually, for as much that I said about its cyclical nature, its depressing atmosphere, for its grittiness, I
Hmm.
actually really like that in film. I
For
talk so much.
masochist.
Listen,
Yes.
listen, 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 listen. I like my men desperate. No, I'm kidding. I like when there's like an underlying tone of like, dang, is there anything we can do to escape this situation right now? Because
Mm.
it's just so much. And like this film had its own way of doing it. It kind of reminds me of what's the it reminds me of two films actually. It reminds me of Final Destination a little bit, mainly in like the crime and the way that it's shot, the gritty kind of lens, and like the I don't
Old.
know, old, I guess, but also like when R.I.P. to Rob, was his name Rob? The
Yeah. No, it
yeah,
was, yeah, it was Bob. Robert.
Bob,
Bob.
yeah, like his death, it
Yes.
just kind of reminded me of like this multiple set of events because it first started with this vandalism of an art structure that has a giant ball that tumbled into like a Starbucks or something, and then the cops came and then they shot him and they dragged his dead body back to that was and then they started saying his name.
Mm.
The chant was crazy. I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna get into that. Whew.
Was it Robert Paulson? Robert Paulson. That
His
was
name is
cool.
Robert Paulson. His name was Robert. And then they
Mm,
started saying that in country in states
I
that weren't even.
know. His
Oh
name's Robert
no.
Paulson. I mean, at least you guy remembered. Like, go off, I guess. I mean, he was gonna die anyways because he had like balls cancer or something. Remember that? So like, remember we met him? Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
well,
So like
I
his whole
guess.
character was like finding the peace in doing something. So that's like part of it though, like finding peace even though you know this whole thing is constructed. You know this whole thing is a it's just a club. This thing is just a club. It turned into a
Right.
cult, but it's just a
That's a
club
cult. Mm-hmm.
and
It
people
was an
believe in it so
organization,
much.
Jayla. Mm.
The
You
organization,
know what?
oof.
As you should. Listen, I mean, because they
No.
renamed it to something else after Fight Club. Anyways,
Oh, it was like
I
Project something.
mhm.
Yeah.
I was definitely like shocked by this movie. Because again, I only had bottoms to base anything off of, and
Mm-hmm.
that movie went south so freaking fast. Listen, that movie said, "I'm here and I'm versatile. I'm gonna give you everything." That yeah. So it was a bit give me a bit of jet lag like in the moment, but like looking back, like
Mm,
it was interesting, like the way like the plot developed. And it was the
mm-hmm.
longest movie, so I guess like
Yeah.
it worked. It didn't feel too confusing, like how it developed. Like it wasn't like, whoa, how did we get here kind of thing. However, it went drastically south. I would say
Yes.
like it went, oh, because like in bottoms, we just kept that at Fight Club. That's it. That's what it was. They did
Right.
start like kind of killing, I guess, but like that was self defense.
They blew up a
Uh,
car.
kind of that don't count. Anyways, uh, listen, I mean, there's a comparison. Blow down cars, they blow down entire buildings and buildings and buildings. So there you go. But yeah, I
Ooh.
enjoyed this movie. I would watch again.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually. Yeah. So
What is
those
your rating out
were.
of 10?
Oh, oh, rating.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a rating first?
I
I
do.
haven't thought about mine. Okay, say yours first. I
I
haven't. I
give
haven't
it an 8.7. I think
not
it's
the
real
point
good.
seven.
The point 0.7 is
Not the
necessary.
decimals.
What do you mean?
It's either
Should I
an eight
round?
point five or it's a nine. It
Why?
cannot be. We only have decimals of five here. Okay.
You can't do some math? Just
So.
point two. That's crazy. Fine. I'll give it an 8.5. I
Mm,
really liked it. I do want to learn, like, I want to read up more on it. It will be a while since I watch it again, but it is something I think I'm gonna think about. And finally, I know like
mhm.
the references now, so I feel like this is one of the movies where like you'll see it
Mm,
more in media and more
that's
media
true.
that you watch. Yeah, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
satisfied. What about you?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I'm definitely gonna rewatch it again. Also, in some time from now, not. I mean, I can't do any film in general ever like back to back, like real close together in general.
Mm,
But I think yes, I will give it a watch. And I like the twist. I did not see that coming at all.
mm,
And I love the imagery of the penis, the symbolism, if you will, that just
mm.
popped out
What a
here and there.
wonderful image to leave on.
Imagery. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us to our lovely podcast. And it was Edgar.
And Jayla. And I'm so happy we could have kept it real with y'all. Let us know how you feel in the comments down below, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Comments. if
I want to start fights in the
you're
comments.
watching, if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment down below on what happened. If you are listening in any other podcast platform, please follow us on Instagram at the BFFR Real, and yeah, and give us your thoughts there. And we'll see you next week. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.